Hello there. You are onto the M2M session podcast. We raise kings to embrace their masculinity and amplify their influence in the society. Welcome. The M2M session podcast is about to begin.
Hey guys, welcome to another amazing episode on M2M session. So today we are going to be continuing our relationship and personal development series, and we have two amazing, thought-provoking, inspirational guest speakers with me here, and we would be starting first off with our first speaker for today in the person of Mr. Joseph Edet, also known as Lashakara. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to do this with us. So without wasting so much time, we'll just jump straight into the questions. So, Mr. Joseph, can you please tell us how and where you met your wife?
I met my wife in university, my year one. She was in biosciences while I was in computer science department, and we just got talking. We became friends. We were friends for quite a long time, since 2006 or so, about that, 2005, I think. And then we're friends all the way till before we thought that we could actually be married, in quotes. But, I didn't see her in that light, but that's why we were in school. So I was a very close friend, and then she's been a loyal friend over time. And that's when I met her. That's what you asked. So I've answered.
Interesting. Alright, the next question, sir. Did you have any challenges or struggles before and during your marriage?
There's no life without challenges and struggles. So, but then it's how you deal with the challenges and struggles that matters. Of course, certainly I had certain challenges. You have a regular challenge of picking the bride is not easy. You have to do it prayerfully. You have to ask the right questions. Sometimes we find ourselves in wrong relationships, and then you have to come out of such relationships and then dust yourself up. Never give up on love. You have to try again prayerfully, so that God can lead you to the right people. So those are natural challenges before marriage. After marriage, compatibility is not done all of a sudden. It takes time. It's a challenge of trying to be compatible with your spouse. So that's part of the struggles. That initial stage is like forcing your leg into a brand new shoe. That's not necessarily your perfect size. You have to adjust until the shoe, begins to feel comfortable, in quotes. All right. So the little struggles you have. And then your wife was brought up with a different experience, a different discipline, different family. Their principles and everything they used to train her was different from how you were trained. So you're like two unlike poles trying to come together. Those are the struggles you face in marriage at early stage. Compatibility, nobody should lie to you that they happen to be compatible immediately, is a lie. In the marriage you find new things, you rediscover new things. Marriage is different from when you're dating. It's two opposite things. When you stay on the same bed and live as a couple, it's different. When they say you now become one, that is talk. You become one, yes, but the real process of becoming one, you have to do it. It's an action word. So you have to every day remember that you have somebody that you are now one with, and then put yourself in order and get compatible indeed, basically.
Alright, sir. You would agree with me that there is so much pressure in being a man. Right from when you stop depending on your parents financially up until when you become the provider of your family. So, sir, how have you been able to handle this pressure till date?
Pressure of being financially stable and all of that. People are different. But for me, I know I had the entrepreneurial spirit very early, quite early. So I was able to start business quite. I started doing business, buying and selling GSS2, and then I've pushed all the way down to now. And I created my own businesses. Before Lashakara, I had what I called EJs, and I changed it to 1Js. I was just trying to see I could create a name that could sell, and then I started my own dance classes, and then the dance aerobics classes. In fact, that name dance aerobics, I was one of the first people who started using that name before many people now are using dance aerobics everywhere, where you do aerobics via dancing. Then I also had salsa class and the others. And I had that company where my company was, we had table stands, we sell accessories, selling wristbands and all of that. So I've had my own fair share of business. I've sold clothes in school, sold phones. When GSM came out, I think I was one of the first people to have phones amongst my peers back then. I had before my parents, you can imagine. So that's how serious it was. Oh, my father was the first person in the house to have phones, And at that time, I had 2 phones a long time ago. So I've done business from a long time. And for me, I think it's because it's my gifting. I have a gift, a knack for buying and selling, doing business, negotiating, marketing and all of that. So that's for me, that's different, and there's a whole challenge in trying to be on your own. But then again, you can't tell until you try. Bible says those who do business in deep seas, they see the message of God. Those who do business in deep seas, they see the message of God. Meaning they have to take the risk of going to deep seas in the first place. So sometimes you have to try, take a risk, find your passion. It's not always far, it's close to you, never far. The passion is always around you, basically.
That's really enlightening. Thank you so much, sir. And the next question is very dear to my heart. How does it feel being a husband and a father? And how can every single guy out there prepare themselves for the responsibilities that accompanies these two roles?
How does it feel being a father and a husband? And how can every single guy out there prepare for responsibilities that accompany these 2 roles? I think it's just maturity. You have to tell yourself that I must be mature, I must take responsibility for myself. So you talk to yourself, decide for yourself to step up to the game. Don't look at the norm. Norm is what is acceptable by generations. The Generation Y, Generation Z is how we looked at things. But a lot of us in Generation Y have evolved. Yeah, and then we have Generation Z. They are very ambitious. They want to jump on stuff. They want to do exploits now. They want to make money now. They want to do everything right now. But you need to calm down. Being a man is not easy, but it's your ability to solve problems, prefer solutions to pertinent problems around your environment first, and then your home. So I think that is one of the things that helps you step up to being a husband and a father. A husband is a provider. He was able to provide. The father is also a provider. You must provide for your wife, provide for your family, provide for the kids. If you cannot provide for yourself, then you have no business trying to provide for another person. I would advise you to do that. If you're not able to meet needs around you, then you have no business being a father, because you're going to be busy meeting needs. We have to meet needs almost every other day. We're paying for bills, paying for different things. Food stuff now is crazy. You have to buy food stuff and pay for school fees. It's not like when we're going to school fees was quite cheap. Right now, to send people to school, to a good school, you have to spend good money. So basically, I've personally tried to handle that, and I advise people out there. There are roles that are similar because it's all embedded in family. If I have a wife, even if I don't have kids, it's still a family. So husbandry in quotes is a subset of family. You understand? Because you're still a family. So when you go out there, I think you should just try and start to work on yourself. Most of the work is self-work. Work on yourself. Solve your own problems first. Try and solve problems around your immediate surroundings. Then you can begin to solve problems of your family. Thank you.
All right, sir. Finally, this is for both the single and the married men who are listening to us out there. So, we know there are untold cases of men cheating on their spouses and men who end up beating their wives. What do you think is the cause of this problem? And how can we as men solve these problems of infidelity and domestic violence?
On two cases of men cheating on their spouses and men beating up their spouses, what do I think about the cause of this problem? Sometimes it's upbringing, all right, and what you've been able to see around yourself, your family rather, how you're brought up, your parents, how did they handle all those things? Those things form a picture of what is acceptable. And in society, social media, and social media paints a picture of what's acceptable. A man has 4 girlfriends and it looks fine on social media. People watch Big Brother, and they're okay with people sleeping with themselves. You know, if you get married tomorrow, that person that has been sleeping with you since, how do you break free? Because sometimes if your husband doesn't meet up to the expectation, you find yourself looking for how to go back to your ex. So these are some of the issues that causes people to have a problem with cheating and the likes of that. And for beating up your spouse, I think first and foremost, every young man there, please do not beat your spouse. Don't beat your girlfriend. Don't even have the habit of hitting back. All right. If your man hits you, walk away. You understand? I'm not saying she should beat you up, but walk away and then tell her to stop it. If you have to report to someone she respects, report to someone she respects. You get, but please, beating of a spouse not acceptable. Cheating, people say, is become a culture of men. It's a saying that people say. They say men are naturally polygamous, but I beg to disagree. I think you can develop a culture of not cheating, but it starts with self-discipline. Do your best with self-discipline, and then also, I think in choosing your spouse, it also helps you choose a spouse that can at least meet most of those needs, not someone who does not care about those needs, your sexual needs, for example, or your emotional needs, but then cooperate. Sometimes it's a communication problem. Communicate with your spouse, discuss, talk, and don't bow to peer pressure just like that. In quotes, when I say just like that, I mean don't accept everything as something that should be. All right, check on them, develop um, a standard for yourself that people who come around you should be able to measure up to. The people who you flow with, who you talk to, should be able to measure up to. But do your best. I wouldn't advise anybody to cheat or beat up their spouse, basically.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, sir, what's your final words for every young man listening out there?
There's always solution to every problem. So, problem of infidelity, I think you can, um, like I said, communicate with your spouse, have that mutual respect, see how you can adjust. Sometimes you don't love somebody only by your feelings. You love them by responsibility you owe them, and you don't also, for example, in a marriage, you don't say I won't be sexually active for my spouse only because I don't have the feeling for it, I don't have the desire for it at the moment. You have to put yourself in it. It's a responsibility. So you owe your spouse sexual responsibility. So sometimes those things help to mitigate the likelihood of cheating and infidelity. And for domestic violence, please, 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 find a solution to it. If you're somebody who's violent, maybe sometimes people who join the army or the military, because of the training they have a response to insults. They think they should beat the person, and such. Sometimes you have a situation whereby some women talk too much. They literally push you to slap them. So I think both parties must be able to balance it. So women insult you, scatter your ego, crush it, throw it away, and expect that your hand will not respond. And you as a silent person, the only response you have is your hand raising up and hitting the person. So I think that we can do better as men. We shouldn't hit anybody no matter what. Walk away, find a solution to it. If you have to step out of the house, if you have to cry sometimes, crying might just help you not to fight back. I'm not saying you should cry as men, don't get me wrong. But in the reverse case, because we have stories of women hitting their men with objects, hitting them with weapons, fighting them, punching their men, slapping their men, biting their men, crazy stuff. We heard those stories, so, but we do not advise for any form of domestic violence, no matter what. Then also let the Bible be your standard. Raise the standard high by using scriptures. What is acceptable by God what would Jesus do, like we used to say back in the days, basically. For me, I'd advise young people out there, there's no crime in getting married. Don't wait until you're too old before you get married. Nonetheless, if you are not called to marriage, it's not by force. Nobody's forcing anybody to get married. If there's no suitor coming, don't let anybody push you in a hurry to make a wrong decision. Take your time, do your due diligence before you pick a spouse. Do it prayerfully, see some level of compatibility, and also spell it out the things you cannot take. Let your spouse also spell it out the things that he or she cannot take. Then you guys can have a meeting point. I think the sky is not just the limit, it's the starting point for everybody, even in marriage. But be intentional about who you choose. Marriage is something you must wake up to every day and be intentional about. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the time. We will be letting you go right now, sir. So, gentlemen, before we have our second speaker, we will be going on a very short break right now.